Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. In recent months, with Berdiev of BC Interactive and the group over at the now defunct Silicon Echo, we have seen what can happen when these shady developers, asset flippers, and peddlers of garbage are allowed virtual free reign to create sock puppet accounts and do whatever they can to help obfuscate their origins. We've found several sock puppet accounts from Berdiev, and we have no way of knowing at this time if we've even found them all. Indeed, with the 14 accounts of Silicon Echo, I'm not even filled with an overabundance of confidence that all of their accounts were located either. Indeed, the number of ways in which a developer, asset flipper, or mimeographer can dupe their customers and Valve are as numerous as they are inventive, but one in particular is one of the oldest and dirtiest tricks in the book, and it is, unfortunately, gaining a titanic amount of popularity with the new Steam Direct system, removing any barrier to entry for these bad actors, and that is the fake review. Fake reviews themselves, as with so many other things, come in a variety of flavors. We have the standard personally written review and the reviews from friends and family or from forum moderators that fail to disclose their involvement with the developer and or the project. Those are very common, and a lot of the time with those reviews, the intent is not really a malicious one. It's intended as more of a helping hand. It's still blatantly anti-consumer and should never be done, but I can understand the reasoning in some instances. But the ones that tend to cause the most damage and are slowly becoming a decently sized business over their years in their own right is the paid curator reviews and simply paid reviews in general. With Steam groups of either people looking for free game keys or bots that are also used to farm Steam trading cards, these groups are paid by these bad actors in order to boost visibility of their products through the use of the Steam review system. These two methods usually produce copy-pasted reviews in exchange for either money or, more often than not, some form of digital goods, such as CSGO or PUBG crates or keys, or Steam keys, which are either used to fuel Steam trading card bot farms, or they're sold as part of game bundles, or individually in order to be purchased by the subset of the gaming community that are actually game collectors, or to be used to fuel other people's trading card bot farms. Regardless of the transactions behind these fake reviews, the intended end result is to boost these fake games to the point where they begin to show up in people's recommended queues. This has a variety of benefits to scammers that post these products. First, it provides legitimate sales if they can somehow manage to get people past that 2-hour mark. It also speeds the process of dropping Steam trading cards, gets them ever closer to that magic $1,000 sales threshold where they're able to recoup the Steam Direct fee, and it actually will allow them to generate more keys for quote review purposes before Valve steps in. As a result of this behavior, a group called Rai Studio Games was given the boot by Valve in June of 2016. This group, having managed to push through 5 separate titles through Steam's Greenlight, were long suspected of money laundering as, at that time, not very many people were aware of the extent to which the Steam trading card economy had grown and how review keys worked within Steam's system. Now that we have a better understanding, we can say with a high degree of certainty what it was they were up to, which was the same as Silicon Echo, BC Interactive, Digital Homicide, and all the others. Using the Steam Storefront as a money printer through a variety of means, and review botting was, and is still to this day, seen as just one more tool in the toolbox for these shady developers. However, it would seem that this person or persons have somehow managed to sneak their way back onto the Steam Storefront via 2 different avenues, and this is a little bit of a rabbit trail, so bear with me. And before we get started, I would also like to note that our resident expert internet investigator, Sir Violent Death of the Steam group Sentinels of the Store, is responsible for piecing all of this together. If you thought I was good at finding these things, he is on a whole other level, and don't worry, I've begun giving him the lion's share of the ad revenue from videos that feature the results of his research like this one. Right, so rabbit trail now engaged. First, we have the Rai Studio Games list from the old Greenlight system. This contains 2 specific games that we'll be focusing on, Rapid Squirrel and Zombie Rush. Rapid Squirrel was re-uploaded to Steam under the name Crazy Flying Squirrel by Cav Studio, who is now gone. They've disappeared, they've been removed. Crazy Flying Squirrel is also on the Google Play Store, but under a developer with a different name, even though that is the same game. The developer is named Real Dynamics. Also, the other title on the Google Play Store by Real Dynamics is called J-Rex Gyro Control, a gyro-controlled racing game. Now, J-Rex Gyro Control is also on Steam under the name Jet Racing Extreme, also by Real Dynamics. You'll also need to remember that the tie that binds here is the email address given for the Real Dynamics games on the Google Play Store, sergey.r2d2@gmail.com. Real Dynamics was also the original developer and publisher of a game called Crimson Earth until it was updated to Technology approximately 2 months ago. However, 1 month after that supposed change of ownership, the developer of Crimson Earth asked someone to send their error logs to him directly at his email address, sergey.lukesdroid@gmail.com. Okay, so now that we have Real Dynamics, Technology, and Rai Studio Games tied together through this one avenue, let's strengthen those ties a little bit. So we know that Rai Studio Games has snuck back onto the Steam storefront, but why? Well, that speaks to what every asset flipper and producers of what Valve has called fake games do every time. They do this so they can generate tens or hundreds of thousands of keys in order to feed their own bot farms and to sell on the gray market to feed other bot farms as part of game bundles and to groups that collect as many games as possible. And yes, groups that go after achievements or status via collecting as many games as possible or as many games that no longer exist on the Steam storefront as possible do in fact exist, and they've started talking about little old me so much that they've gotten my attention, so expect a video on that at some point in time. And to the involvement within the gray market, we see this tied to a Skype name that all three of these quote-unquote companies have given out in the past. Now for that, we have to go back to Rai Studio Games and their old Greenlight page for the title Zombie Rush, in which they posted the Skype user Ehasad84. Ehasad84 is also used as the main point of contact for the site steamys.ru, a Russian gray market site that sells Steam games for dirt cheap. You can see the Skype contact on the left-hand side, and in this next shot, we also have steamys.ru showing Lone Warrior with over 1,700 keys available for 5 rubles each. This translates to just 9 cents US, which is a fraction of the 99-cent asking price on the Steam storefront. And then here we have Technology's page on steamkit.ru advertising for their VK page, a site that I do not recommend you visit ever. At the bottom is the Ehasad84 Skype user yet again. So now we have someone who was removed from Steam for attempting to dupe consumers who has somehow found their way back and have been happily spamming titles out in order to generate funds through the gray market for nearly a year. With 28 titles in total between 2 sock puppet accounts, and who knows if there are even more out there to be found, they have shown absolutely no sign of slowing down. And while I know that there are some people out there that will say that they're all for giving someone a second chance, I would normally be one of them, except that the vast majority of the positive reviews on these games are in Russian or very broken English, along with being sold extremely cheaply on multiple sites that not only feed the asset flip market, but also they appear to be in fact running at least one of those gray market sites. This is a pattern of behavior that shows that this one person or this group have no interest in learning their lesson. Their only goal here is to squeeze as much money out of the Steam storefront and out of all of us as humanly possible while providing people with absolute junk in the process. This group earned their getting kicked to the curb last year, and they have proven through their own actions that they deserve to be yet again. As this is the case, I will be reaching out to the few Steam moderators I do know, as well as working with Sentinels of the Store to be able to try to make certain Valve looks into this. And as always, please do feel free to let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments below. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.